Today you'll see two neat camis that are not what you're expecting. You're going to be much more covered up than with other traditional camis, and there's quite a few fun details here to see as well. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and I'm here to share some neat sewing. The techniques, the order of events were just completely different. What I'm talking about is a new pattern called Cami. It's from Sinclair Patterns, and you see the line out here. It's got a squarish look, but it's a band that goes straight across the front and the back, sort of higher coverage than you're used to, and I'm very happy with that. No complaints on my part. The more I'm covered, the better. And then what stands out the most are these wide straps that come around here, very bra friendly. You're going to cover every single bra, which I think is amazing. Fitted at the bust, a little looser at the waist, a little bit of ease at the hips, and there's two lengths. You can keep it basic like that. That would be perfect. Then you can start ruffling big time. You can add a ruffle in the front neckline if you want to, in between the binding. You can add a ruffle on the side of the strap, so it'll be covering your shoulder a little bit. You can add a ruffle on the inner part of the strap, so it would be touching your neck. You can add both. You can add one. There's a narrower ruffle and a wider one. So quite a few options there with the ruffles that you can mix and match. For me, the best thing that sold me was that wide strap. So the technique here is very different to achieve this, and it's beautiful. It's got a curved band that follows the shape. Just gorgeous. If you want to go the extra mile, there's instructions and pattern pieces to have a built-in bra inside, like a shelf bra. For me, I would only consider that option if I want to make this for swimming. I'm always going to feel much more comfortable with my regular bra. And if the wide straps are going to cover my regular bra, that's the route I'm going. So I did not sew any shelf bras or any of that here for this version. Because the Charm Cami is brand new at Sinclair Patterns, it's 27% off, and the sale runs through Sunday the 15th of June. After the sale is over though, I'm going to type in a code that I was given that will work until the end of July, so you can keep getting it at 27% off. It's a code only for all the viewers here on this channel, so I hope you take advantage of it and grab yourself a beautiful cami that's modest, covers you up really nicely under the arms, on the back, on the front, everywhere. It's just so pretty. I'll leave my affiliate link in the top of the comment section pinned, super easy for you to find. If you click on it, it'll take you directly to the website. If you end up purchasing, I do receive a small commission back from the designer. You don't pay anything extra for doing that, and it's just one way that you can support the work that I do here on YouTube, creating all of this helpful sewing content. You need light to medium weight knit fabric here. It's really important that it stretches both ways, horizontally from selvage to selvage at least 50%, vertically at least 25 to 30%. If you have fabric that doesn't stretch vertically, I think it would be uncomfortable. The straps wouldn't look right. So make sure you're choosing the right type of fabric. This will 100% not work in a woven, so don't even try. It's a hard no from me. There's a lot of options here for fabric, and it depends on what you choose for the main body, if you can use that for the bands or not. I think cotton lycra would be a great choice that you could use for the main body and the bands. That's perfect, same as rib knit. Now for rib knit, there's a little asterisk here. Instead of the curved band here, you have the option of sewing a rectangle band, but just for rib knit, because rib knit can sort of mold and stretch the curves much better than any other knit fabrics. And athletic knit is going to be perfect for the body and the straps over here. But then if you go into lighter weight fabrics like rayon spandex, modal spandex, bamboo spandex, the spandex content there isn't that high. They also don't recover that well. They don't have much recovery. So in that case, I would make the body of that lightweight knit, but I would do the bands in an athletic knit or a cotton lycra or a rib knit. I'd sort of mix it around a bit. Same for ITY, double brush poly, single brush poly, these that are lighter. I don't know that I'd be too happy to do the straps in the same fabric because they could end up stretching out over time. Now, if you really want to use those lightweight knit fabrics, there is a little trick mentioned in the instructions as an option, and that is to sew a 1/4 inch elastic into the necklines and this part of the strap. So around here, this area. While you're sewing in the process, you're not going to see me do that, but you could add an elastic in there, and that would fix your problem about recovery and that stretching out over time and things. So if you have a great knit with great stretch and recovery and quite a nice amount of spandex in there, you don't need to sew that elastic in there, in my opinion. I haven't done it with mine, and I'm quite happy with how they turned out. Now, fabrics that I would avoid are the really heavy ones, like a really heavy cotton lycra, Ponte Roma, Liverpool. It would be super bulky, especially if you're doing the ruffles. It would just look horrendous. Sizing goes from 0 to 30 US, up to a 63-inch hip. We have height files here. If you've never sewn Sinclair Patterns, you're missing out, especially if you're off the standard heights. If you're very petite, if you're tall, you have height files for this, petite, regular, and tall. These are the heights that you can see right there. Choose that first, and then go ahead and check your circumferences and choose your size. Super nice. Now, this is meant to be fitted in the neckline area, all of this area, so that it doesn't gape. So you're going to have negative ease here around 2 inches. That's why it's so important that your fabric stretches a nice amount. Then towards the waist, you have more space, 4 to 5 inches of extra space around here. And around the hips, 1 inch of ease. I've chosen a size 14 US, which is my size at Sinclair Patterns right now. You can see the size chart here and where my measurements plot. So I'm in one size, but I'm going to take the liberty of blending out to a size 16 at the hips, because I know I like more than 1 inch of ease at my hips when I wear a top. Remember, you're wearing pants and a skirt or something under there. Otherwise, no more changes. There's 2 lengths. I just cut the shortest length because that's what I prefer, but no actual fitting adjustments or changes or nothing like that. So very, very relaxing. Now I'm going to show you how to sew this. The option I'm sewing is with an athletic knit. So you're going to see the curved strap. I'm only going to have one ruffle, and I chose to have my ruffle here on the outside. I'm doing the wider ruffle. Here are the pattern pieces for my version of the charm cami from Sinclair Patterns. This is the front, this is the back. They're both cut on the fold. They're not exactly the same, but they are similar. There's the binding for the front, the binding for the back. These are the straps. Now, this strap is going to be on the inside touching your skin, and this strap is going to be on the outside. There are 2 of each. Now, if you have rib knit that stretches a lot, you can have the alternative of cutting a strap that's just a rectangle to go on the outside. This is an athletic knit, so that's not going to work. So I have my curved pieces, 2 of them right there. This is a little ruffle that I'm going to put on the outer edge. This is the larger piece, so it's a little bit of a longer ruffle. It's going to cover more of the arms. You also have another piece of a smaller ruffle. You can see the difference there. There's quite a few options there. You can put the ruffles on the outside of the strap and on the inside of the strap. Another option is put a ruffle along the front here, but I'm not doing that. It'll be interesting. It'll be quite different to other camis I've sewn. These straps are super wide. They're going to cover any bra strap, so it's super bra friendly. This is my little ruffle. I'm doing the wider ruffle. There's a narrow one. It would be the same. Now in the instructions it says just to cut it and leave it raw, or finish it however you want. I would leave it raw if the wrong side wasn't so different. So I can't really leave it raw. Any knit is not going to fray, so it wouldn't be an issue with that. It's just about how it looks. So I'm going to hem mine traditionally. I've serged it first. I folded it back. I'm doing 1/2 inch just to avoid most of the white being seen. You know, I can't avoid it all being seen, but at least a little bit. So I'm just quickly going to hem the curved side of this ruffle. You can see there's a straight edge. Don't hem that. It's the one that's curved. I'm using a narrow zigzag to do this for both of my ruffles. I've pressed it now because it's the best time to do it when the ruffles are done, and then it's harder. And I'm going to trim away this little bit here. I get this excess from having folded it up, which isn't supposed to be there because I suppose you're not even supposed to hem this. But let's get this neat little edge here. And then along this straight edge, we're going to do gathering stitches. I'm going to do one at 1/4 inch and then another one at 3/8, just using a long stitch length, both of the ruffles. This is my curved outer band. Now you can choose whether you want to put your ruffle here. That would mean it's closer to your neck, or you can put it on this side, which would be where your arms are. I want mine on the outer edge. I'm using the big ruffle, so I think that's what makes most sense. But you could put them on both. You can put the small ruffle here, the small ruffle there, the big one here, the small one here. Whatever you do, if you want the one close to your neck, I would keep the small one here just so it's less bulky. If you put it looking down like this, it's this side that I'm going to pin my ruffle to. So I have my ruffle there. Right here inside, there's a little mark right there and a little mark right there. And that's where the ruffle is going to go between. So I'm going to pin the edge of my ruffle here, right where that little line is, and on the other side. Now I'm going to baste this in place. It's better to do this in the sewing machine. It's less thread involved. I wouldn't use a serger for all of these steps that I'm showing you. So it's just a basting stitch to keep it down. Okay, here's the ruffle sewn on, right sides together around this edge. This is going to be where my arm goes. So it's on the outer side of my arm. And on this other edge that was raw, you're supposed to press it in by 1/4 inch. My fabric does not press. I could not do a memory crease on this. Fabrics that you could would be cotton lycra maybe, but I think most knits you wouldn't really be able to do a nice memory crease like on wovens. So I've just gone ahead and hand basted this in by 1/4 inch all around this edge, and that's ready for later. Now we can put this aside and start working on the actual cami. These are the inner straps, so I don't get confused. I've actually written that in there. And the same as we did with the other straps, I have hand basted one edge in by 1/4 inch. Doesn't matter what you do. I mean, as long as they're mirrored, they are rectangles. So there we go. Put this aside. This is the back piece. It's wrong sides up. I have a mark that says B so I don't get confused. Now we need to get our inner straps and also put them wrong sides up and align them right here with the folded edge towards the center. So right here with these folded edges towards the center, the raw edges on the sides right there. Now we have the back neckline. This one also goes wrong sides up on top of the straps right there. I've marked the center to match the center here, and this neckline is a little shorter than the edges, so we're going to have to stretch it to match right here. I'm going to use the same pin I had under here. See, you can see it stretches a little bit. Now that this is done, I'm going to scoot this over, leaving these straps here hanging because we need to attach the front now. So here is the front neckline. I'm going to bring these straps in the same position, keeping everything wrong sides up, and I'm going to align this one like that on the edges, and the same with the front binding, the front neckline over here. This is how it's going to look. We have the right side here, but it's folded. All of this is pinned to the wrong side here. So we have a type of rectangle there with the front on one side and the back on the other side. Now we're going to go ahead and sew this and sew this. With a 1/4 inch seam allowance, I'm going to be stretching the neckline to match what's underneath, catching the straps as we go. Remember, all of these pieces are wrong sides up. All of the layers that you have here should have the ugly side of the fabric looking up at you. First the straps and then the neckline piece. And I'm sewing this with a narrow zigzag, as you see, and stretching the binding to match the neckline underneath. This front neckline binding, as you can see, has a raw edge here. If the fabric allowed it, then you would fold this in by 1/4 inch because we have to bring this forward towards the front and top stitch it there. But because I know my fabric is not going to work well doing that, I'm going to do the same thing I've done with this area and fold it in by hand and do a quick hand baste here and on this other side. And then we're going to finish the front binding. Now that I've got the edge folded, I'm just bringing it over towards the right side and covering that seam. And I'm stretching it as I do this because this does need to be stretched a little. But as I stretch it, it's not that much, I'm pinning it there. For the stage where I'm going to top stitch this, I'm just going to edge stitch with a narrow zigzag. And to keep it neat, and because my fabric is a little slippery, I am going to be doing another row of hand basting just to keep it in place because I'm not going to trust that these pins are going to keep it without moving. If you're wondering about these straps, these are just hanging from the inside. So this front neckline is going to be in front of these straps on the side. This is another presser foot. This has an L on it. It's also a type of blind hem presser foot, but different. When you move this, it moves this edge in or out. So you can actually get whatever seam allowance you want, and it's really helpful. I've set it here to about 1/8 inch. Next, I'm just doing the side seams simple. I'm doing them with the sewing machine and I've already serged the edges because I want to press these seams open. That's just my preference when working with a heavier structured fabric. If this was lighter, I would just do it with a serger. Now we need to bring these straps that we'd left behind and sew these little short ends right sides together. I'm going to undo part of this basting so I can sew all the way to the bottom, and then I'm going to refold that little edge that had been folded. This is supposed to be a memory crease. There isn't supposed to be a stitch, but I have a basting stitch. But I don't want to sew through it, so I'm going to sew right here and the same on this other side. This is a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And this seam is going to be enclosed, so you don't need to finish it or do anything with it. The next part looks really, really wrong, but it's right. Here are the side seams right here. What I'm going to do with this strap is bring it up like this and just pin it on top of that neckline that's on the front. This binding is going to be in front of this strap. Remember, the top is wrong sides up. That's how it's supposed to be. It looks really, really wrong, but it's right. There are many steps here that you might think it's not right, but it turns out to be right. So here we have this round type of armhole, and now we have this round section as well. This is also going to be wrong sides up. So what we want to have here is this folded edge that we had there, and the raw edges are going to match. So we're going to slide the top inside, match up the side seams of the top and the side seams of this white binding right here. On this inner strap, there's going to be a mark that's going to match this one right here. So at the top part of the strap, and we're going to have all these ruffles sandwiched in between. We just need to make sure they are correctly placed and that they're not flipping out this way. So this is pretty much 1-to-1 right here. So I'm going to keep pinning to this other side, matching everything up. And there we have it. Now we're going to sew this. It's like a round seam. This is the part of the armhole, partial armhole. On the top, we have that inner strap right there and the ruffles in between. And this loose edge has been folded in by 1/4 inch everywhere. After sewing that little seam, I'm just going to snip every 1/2 inch or so. It's really curved, and we're going to turn this to the other side. After snipping, this is how it looks. You can see this now is going to come over towards the front right there. You could just bring it forward and then top stitch, but I'm going to do an extra step, which is to understitch at least this bottom part of the underarm area because the wrong side is white. It's quite contrasting and I don't want it seen. So what I'm going to do is push the seam allowance underneath the main cami piece, not this binding piece. Now that the understitching is done, I can bring this forward and you can see that the seam you can see the wrong part rolls to the inside by about 1/8 inch. The understitching achieves that. And when you wear the garment, just the colorful part is going to be seen and not the inner part. So then this is how we start pinning it right here. So this curved area is just overlaid on top of the cami. But then once we get past the neckline, we have these two straps. And this is why we had folded them previously. These are going to go right on top of each other and finish the shoulder area there. So I'm going to tidy it all up with pins and then hand baste. And then we top stitch all the way around. And that's it. If you've been watching my channel, you might have seen this very colorful fabric before because I've made a dress out of it, but I love the fabric so much. I got about 4 meters when I bought it because I knew I was going to make more things. So here's my first cham cami. It's super lovely. I think the predominant color is red. That's why I love it so much, but there's every single color. There's one color in here that I really don't like, which is that orange, but let's try to ignore that orange. Very beautiful. I just edge stitched with my blind hem presser foot. Narrow zigzag stitch is a stretch stitch, so it's going to work really well. There's so many ways you can sew that. If you have a cover stitch, go ahead. You use a twin needle. I chose to keep it discreet. The colors are so contrasting. I wanted the least thread possible going through that way. Same as on the edges right here. Kept it really, really simple. And here is my ruffle that I decided to hem because the white side is visible. So you see that it's a little bit visible, but not so much as if I would have just left it raw like it mentioned in the instructions. I did do some understitching right there just to keep that inside, that something extra, just because the high contrast here from the right and the wrong. I really wanted to keep that inside. And otherwise, super simple, just because my fabric is heavy. I sewed with the sewing machine and press seams opened, a simple hem. And this is how it looks like on the inside. The binding, the inner strap, which was a rectangle, is only on this area. And then on the outside, we have all of this that's just overlaid. So that's how it looks like on the inside. Super lovely. And I'm really, really going to love this one. I have styled it a few ways so you can see it. If you're loving the practical sewing content, please don't step out of this video without tapping on the like button. It's really important for YouTube. And I'd appreciate 1 second of your time to do that. This is my first charm cami from Sinclair Patterns. I really like this colorful athletic knit. It's really pretty. I've got it paired with my Clio knit shorts from Sinclair Patterns. Up closer, you're going to see the wide strap. I've added little ruffles and I've sewn a size 14 and blended to a size 16 out of personal preference just to have more ease. Although my size is a size 14, I prefer that rather than having something fitted. I think this is really cute. The colors are amazing. Up closer, you can see the wide binding here on the neckline. It's all stretchy. The wide binding around the arms, very good cover under the arms. Covers your bra strap perfect. It's super wide, and in between those straps, I opted to put the ruffles that are the largest ones, so they cover my shoulders the most. There's another option with smaller ruffles. You can put ruffles on the inner section close to your neck. You can put ruffles around the front binding. There's so many things you can do. But I just kept my simple, and this is really, really cute, really fresh. I can't wait to wear it. And I had used this fabric to make a dress before, but I knew I had enough to make a top as well. And I'm gonna really, really enjoy it once the weather gets hot again, because as I'm filming this, I'm absolutely freezing. Here I've semi-dressed it up a little bit with a red skirt, which is one of the colors from the print that I would highlight. I wouldn't bring any of the other colors to use in a pair of bottoms. I just think it would look strange. So this is nice pencil skirt in a stretch cotton with lovely little comfy sandals. Very comfortable outfit, but it looks like I've made a little bit of an effort. And again, I'm so happy with the ease there. I have about 2 inches of ease, which is what I prefer. So that's why I blended out to a 16 at the hips. Absolutely love it. The ruffles, I'd never sewn anything like it, and it's absolutely darling. The reason I like to use athletic knits is because I can work out in them. Wicking performance fabrics. So I've paired it with one of my skirts, ready to wear, quite short. It's got little shorts underneath and the skirt on top. And this is going to be perfect to go and work out once the weather gets warm again, because right now I'm completely out of context, but I just wanted to share that this will also be a workout top for me. Absolutely love it. Now, if you wanted to, you can add a shelf bra on the inside. I haven't done that because I feel more comfortable with my regular bras, but the option. The second one is a little bit harder to see. I chose a polyester spandex knit that looks like a cotton embroidery and glaze because it's got embroidered details. I've made quite a few garments before with this type of fabric. Great stretch, great recovery, lots of lovely colors, and I've chosen white, so it might be hard to see. The only difference with this one was that I kept the ruffles with a raw edge. I think this fabric is okay. It's white everywhere, and I've done the smaller ruffle, but otherwise I've chosen the same options. I've changed the camera settings a little bit so you can see. It's super lovely. There's little openings so you can see my skin. This is the binding. This time I've done it with a twin needle. This is a strap with a little ruffle, all raw here, cut very carefully. So I think that's perfect. Very, very cute. The wide strap here sewn with a twin needle. It's all the same on the back. And this time I serged the edges directly, and I have no machine stitching there. My hem is simple with the twin needle as well. I think this turned out darling. I am severely lacking in white tops. I just have one. I think I have a woven one and a knit one, and that's it. So this is perfect. It's a style that's really going to be versatile. You see the amount of ease is perfect just to wear out. I don't need to tuck in, and it works with different types of bottoms. So let's see. This is my second charm cami from Sinclair Patterns. It's a really nice jersey material, super stretchy, that up close you see has embroidery details similar to what you see in cotton embroidery anglaise, only it's super stretchy. I've got it paired with my sky skirt from Sinclair Patterns, super cute. I've got a smaller ruffle on my shoulders this time. On the colorful cami, the ruffles were a little bit bigger. There you can see the lovely neckline and you can see the embroidery details. For these ruffles, I didn't hem them, I just cut them out carefully and it looks perfect. For my other ruffles, I had hemmed those. Very nice. I've sewn this one with a twin needle. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm seriously lacking white tops. I think I only have 2 at the moment and this is going to be perfect. I just can't believe I hadn't sewn ruffles in straps before because it's so doable. I love it paired with this skirt because it's really colorful, and any colorful bottom that you have is always going to look amazing with a white top. Here I've got my white cami paired with the Byron shorts. This is a set from Sinclair Patterns that also has a top, and I think it's really comfortable, really fresh. I think the cami elevates the look 100%. It's so nice. Those ruffles are everything. I don't think I would make this cami without the ruffles, to be honest. I just love them so much. So however many times I make this pattern again, I'm always going to go for a ruffle detail. I've pulled out some ready-to-wear jeans. You could swap this for a denim skirt. I think white always looks amazing with jeans, and this is seriously a basic look that I've been liking, and so this is really nice. I've spiced up the look with a snake type bag right there just to bring something extra there. I'm super happy I don't feel the need to ever tuck in this shirt. It's how I'm most comfortable, and this is great with jeans. Wide leg bottoms here in a knit. These are the Restore pants from Green Style. Super flowy, comfy pants. There is some subtle white in the print, so I think this is beautiful. And again, whenever I have colorful pants, I always want to tone it down with a solid on the top. And I think the white brings the outfit together beautifully, and it's a really good pairing. I'm super mega comfortable, all in knit from head to toe. And it's great. This would be a great travel outfit for me, although I would need a jacket as well because I usually get cold when I travel. Now, if I had several more of me sewing and I could multiply my hours and the amount of things I can get sewn, I would have made a navy and a black one. Those would have been staples. They would go with everything. But let's keep it at 2. One with a print athletic knit, one with a polyester spandex knit that's embroidered. Gorgeous, different ruffle details. For me, when there's details like this, I just like to choose one detail. I don't like to do too many details. I'm keeping it simple and I really enjoyed it. Love this one that's a little longer. It covers your shoulders a little bit more. It's just darling, super enjoyable to sew. That's all from me. I invite you to come back tomorrow. Tomorrow I've been preparing for. It's a fabric video. You're gonna love it. So see you then. Bye.